I've looked at a list of Canadian cities that have the same number, the same population as Trondheim, and I've never heard of any of them. uh, because I was trying to find like a reference point that I could tell people, hey, it's just like this city, you know, it's the same size and stuff, but it's different. I think that in Norway, you get like a metropolis feel with much smaller inhabitants than in Canada. It's different. But a lot of things were similar to the way that Canada is portrayed. Canada is portrayed as a country where you're really tightly knit to nature, and you can go out and you're skiing and you're playing hockey on the frozen lakes. And I grew up in Montreal, which is a big metropolis in Canada. It's 3.5 million people. And those kinds of like typical Canadian experiences are not so accessible there. But in Norway, they are. So it's almost like being home, or it's like it's the culture that I was like brought up with, but that wasn't accessible for me growing up in a big city. So I love it. Like I feel like I belong here. There's a very big difference between like when you're able to understand and read and when you're able to speak and communicate. Reading and understanding came very quickly for me. And then in my first job here, you develop relationships with people, and your relationship with the person is also based in language. And somehow it's so difficult to switch languages because then you feel like you have to start from scratch. You don't feel like you're speaking to the same person anymore. So I actually switched jobs. And when I started a new job, that was after being here for 4 years, I didn't speak one word of English there. I started all of my relationships from scratch in Norwegian, and then it went exponentially. Sometimes I get a question. A lot of times people are just quiet because they probably think that they're not really sure where my dialect comes from, and they don't dare asking. It's a good thing. I like that people don't always ask me where I'm from. And the working hours are much shorter than in many other countries. So not only is it accessible, but you also have time to use it. Work-life balance would probably be one of the biggest competitive advantages. And you can go cross-country skiing after work as well. That's a new thing for me because in Canada, you start cross-country skiing when you're too old to go downhill. So it's a sport for people that are retired.